Hi, and welcome to Surviving Alzheimer's podcast Clarity, Courage, and Care. I'm Terry, your guide on this journey, and I'm an Alzheimer's educator, speaker, soon to be author, and founder of Memory Treatment Advisors and Alzheimer's Survivor. Today, I'm honored to walk with you, the patients, caregivers, family, and communities, as we explore a topic that touches all of us, every single one of us on this journey. Today, our topic is family conflict and decision fatigue in Alzheimer's care, how to get everyone on the same page. If you've ever felt the tender strain of making decisions for a loved one with Alzheimer's, or sensed the gentle tug of war in family conversations, know that you're held in this space with love. This disease doesn't just touch the person diagnosed, it ripples through the family, inviting us to grow together in understanding and care. And I promise you, with a little compassion and practical wisdom, we can turn those ripples into a harmonious flow. Let me share a piece of my heart before we dive in. My mother's journey with Alzheimer's includes my brother and sister, who bring such grace and strength to our family. We've managed to navigate the challenges with respect for each other's views, and it's taught me the beauty of family unity. This episode honors families like ours who focus on celebrating every choice with respect, working hard to place unnecessary judgment aside and focus on what's doing best for our mom. So let's take a deep breath and let's step into this conversation with open hearts and gentle spirits. When a loved one is diagnosed with Alzheimer's, the impact is deep and wide. Suddenly, you're not just deciding daily routines, you're facing big, emotional, life-changing choices about treatment, safety, and the future. It doesn't take long for disagreements to surface. Maybe one family member wants to try every new medication, while another worries about side effects, or someone feels mom is fine and doesn't need help yet. Those moments come from love, but they can stir tension. And with the sheer number of decisions often needing quick action, decision fatigue can creep in, leaving everyone overwhelmed and emotionally drained. Today, we'll explore why these conflicts arise, what decision fatigue looks like, share real life stories, of course, with names changed to protect privacy, and offer loving steps to align as a family. My hope is that you'll leave feeling empowered and supported. If you're here and this is your first time, welcome. Your presence is a gift to all of us. And if you're returning, thank you for being part of this circle of care. Let's begin. Let's start by understanding why families disagree in Alzheimer's care. This is so common and it stems from the heart. First, people have different levels of knowledge about the disease. One might have immersed themselves in research, while another is just beginning to learn what Alzheimer's means. This isn't a divide to judge. It's a chance to share knowledge, but share it with kindness. Second, our emotional connections shape how we see the situation. The sibling who has always been the caregiver might push for action, while another perhaps is wrestling with their own grief and is hesitating. Third, old family dynamics and unresolved issues will resurface under stress. Alzheimer's will shine a light on past roles and hurts. Fourth, geographic distance creates different perspectives on the situation. Those nearby might see the daily decline in real time, the slight shifts in daily life, while those far away will notice more significant changes over time. This isn't about right or wrong, it's about bridging the space with open communication. Finally, financial concerns influence choices about care and treatment. Talking about money can be very heavy, but with transparency and shared effort, It becomes a shared strength. If disagreements arise from these or similar situations, remember they are not failures. They're signs of deep care. In my work with families, I've seen how taking these concerns or challenges and acknowledging them can be the first step towards harmony. Like a band, you can't just show up and sound great. You have to work together. You have to assign roles and practice to tune the members so they can sing as one. Now, let's explore decision fatigue. That oftentimes is the quiet companion of conflict. Decision fatigue happens when you've made so many choices that your mental energy is completely gone. In Alzheimer's care, this might mean postponing essential decisions because you're too drained to face them, or making choices reactively instead of thoughtfully. It will heighten tension in conversations as everyone's running on empty. Picture a day with questions. Should we adjust medications? Is home care needed? What about safety? Each one draws from your well of energy until even small choices feel overwhelming. My sister's well always seems to have no bottom. She can take on more than anyone I know, where my well is not as deep as it used to be. But here's the light. Recognizing this issue is the first step to reclaiming your peace. And we'll dive into that in just a moment. To bring this alive, I want to share a story with you about the Callahan family. They're a loving family navigating their father's early Alzheimer's. There are three brothers and one sister, all trying to split responsibilities with care. Two of the siblings wanted to start him on Leqembi immediately, seeing it as their only hope. One thought it was too risky and was concerned for his well-being and the potential ARIA side effects. The youngest felt that they should wait and see, holding on to faith that the matter would somehow resolve itself. I was working with the oldest, her name is Anna. She said that they went in circles for weeks. They weren't just talking about medication, they were talking about their fear. They were talking about their hope and their guilt. But none of them could say that out loud. They all felt the weight within them, and the unspoken emotions just swirled around them. The turning point came when they brought in a neutral facilitator. With someone guiding the conversations, they focused on facts, their father's wishes, and how to share the load. It wasn't instant harmony, but it was a shift towards love and respect. Stories like this remind me that seeking support is a strength and not a weakness. In my own family, each of us brings to the table a very unique perspective. And together, we've learned that listening with love and respect turns differences into harmony. It's not easy and it's never perfect. We do get frustrated with each other, but we have the same goal, and that's to do what is best for mom. We all make the effort and we all put in the work. And this is the spirit that I wish for you too. Except what, well, except that we all have our shortcomings. When I fall short on a task, they've stepped in for me. And in the future, if one of them falls short, I'll be the one that steps up for them. So there's another family that I worked with. The lady that I worked with, her name is allegedly Ellen. Ellen's mother lived with her for 2 years before the symptoms got really bad. Her brothers, both living in different states, questioned every decision Ellen made, whether it was daily care, medication, everything. One night, after a very tense call full of judgment and unappreciation, Ellen told her husband, "I'm done. I cannot be the one making these decisions anymore." She continued and said she would never again listen to her brothers questioning her choices, their side comments, or uneducated suggestions. Ellen and her husband hired a care coordinator who provided updates and answered questions to both of her brothers at once. The care coordinator was able to answer their questions and even help guide Ellen in her decision making to support her brother's desires, easing the burden on Ellen and lifting a huge weight off of Ellen's heart. She said that this allowed her to focus on taking care of her mom instead of fighting about all of the details. They're not there yet, but she's hoping that one day they can come together again and communicate as a family. These stories really reflect the resilience in families like mine, where my brother and my sister, we strive to support each other with respect. It's a reminder that we're all doing our best. Now, let's talk about and embrace some practical steps to reduce conflict and align as a family. I'm going to start by offering 5 gentle invitations. All 5 are rooted in care and experience. First, start with the facts. Have a healthcare provider explain the diagnosis, the prognosis, and treatment options to everyone at the same time. This is really important. It creates a shared foundation for those who cannot attend. Insist that they join with a video call. If they still resist and that doesn't work out, provide a recording, not notes that someone took, an actual recording. Small acts of inclusion that matter for the missing people and those that are in attendance. Also helps to hold everybody accountable. Second, clarify the loved one's wishes. If possible, involve them early on while their voice is still strong. Review advance directives and care plans. This centers the process on the patient's intent. This should go a long way towards fostering unity. Third, and I cannot stress how important this is or how much it has helped us, assign clear roles. Who's going to handle the medical appointments? Who's going to manage the finances? Who manages day-to-day care? Who manages the legal issues? It's like assigning parts to a band. You can have multiple songwriters. They can all collaborate on a song, on an album, but you cannot have 2 lead singers. Assigning roles helps to prevent the overlap and honors each person's contribution. In my family, this has allowed us to survive this together. Fourth, schedule regular check-ins. Hold a monthly video call or a dinner to sit down and review the changes and adjust plans. These moments keep the communication flowing and help prevent tension from building. Fifth, bring in a neutral third party, a care consultant, a minister, a social worker, or a mediator who can guide you when the emotions run high. Of course, there are plenty of families with a brother or a sister who always knows best. Someone that knows everything about everything and will vocally criticize every little thing you do, yet they don't do anything to help. The sooner you can recognize this behavior as abuse, the better. Once you're able to accept that, you need to hire a professional to extract this person from your loved one's care. To prevent decision fatigue, let's add some self-care wisdom. First, limit big decisions to a single day. You can only make so many life-changing decisions in one moment. So space them out to preserve your energy. Second, use decision frameworks. Look at the pros and the cons or the cost benefit to simplify choices. These will help guide you with clarity. Third, delegate tasks whenever possible. Share the load with your siblings. This is one of the biggest gifts that you can give to yourself and to your siblings. Fourth, take breaks from care discussions to protect emotional energy. Step out, go out into nature, rest, or simply just take a walk. Your soul deserves this. Fifth, remember that not every choice requires perfection. Do the best you can with the information that's available. You have to release that pressure, embrace grace, and love-driven decisions will heal, even when they're imperfect. As we close, hold this. Family unity in Alzheimer's care doesn't happen by accident. It takes clear communication, shared understanding, and respect for the patient's wishes and each other's perspectives. By aligning clearly and managing decision fatigue, you can make better choices and nurture your relationship. If you need guidance, I'm here. I help families navigate Alzheimer's care, reduce conflict. I help them create clear plans. You can go to my website. It's memorytreatmentadvisors.com. Go to the schedule button and you'll find a lot of different solutions. There are free solutions in there. Next week, we're going to talk about building a support circle. Thank you for this time together. And remember, you are surviving and thriving with clarity, courage, and care.